welcome back to another YouTube video by the FPL Draft Duo. We are a duo who are dedicated to expanding the FPL Draft Mode to a wider audience. Listen in to our weekly podcast where we give in-detail descriptions of waivers, trade dilemmas and tips and tricks to win at the draft.
If you like this type of content, do subscribe to our YouTube, and for more in-depth discussions, follow our podcast, FPL Draft Duo. We have 28 episodes so far, giving weekly waiver suggestions. If you go back to the earlier podcasts, we tell you all about the draft, how to play it, how to set it up. So do check out our earlier episodes as well, and hit that follow button.
We are currently in the middle of a very busy Christmas period, so make sure you are aware of all the deadlines. Here are some of the deadlines from game week 16 to game week 19. Making sure that you have your waivers in on time could get you the win over your opponent.
Our game week 15 waiver of the week was Andreas Pereira. He had 3 assists and 3 bonus points in their 5-0 win against Forest. Although he was a 1-week punt, he now looks like a long-term hold, with some very good fixtures coming up. In West Ham, then they've Newcastle, but after that, they've Burnley and Bournemouth.
A punt from our game week 14 video is Leon Bailey. Now he returned against Man City unexpectedly, but if you pick up Bailey as your 5th choice midfielder, there's some nice fixtures that you may be able to rotate him with. Bailey also has a very high trade value, so if you don't want the risk of rotation, maybe now is a good time to trade. A lot of our waiver and watch list suggestions are still relevant, so if you want to go back and check out why we picked these players, go back and watch Game Week 15's video or listen to Game Week 15 podcast for all the details.
Onto our watch list section. So Game Week 16 watch list. First up is Luis Diaz. So with Jota out injured and with Salah likely to miss Game Weeks 21 all the way up to Game Week 24 because of the AFCON, Diaz is now more nailed for those good run of fixtures of Bournemouth, then they've Chelsea, Arsenal and Burnley.
Chelsea are top of the fixture ticker over the next 8 games. 7 out of those 8 games are rated 2 on the FDR. There's many options for Chelsea. High on our list are Palmer and Sterling. They could be very good players to get a trade over the line. There's also some nailed players for Chelsea. Enzo recently had a haul with 2 goals, but won't always be on penalties when Palmer is on the pitch. Gallagher is coming back from red card, and although his minutes might be reduced because of some good performances while he was out, he still will play 70 to 80% of those games. If you really want to go for a punt, the likes of Mudryk might start a couple of those easy fixtures. But we recommend to go for some steady eddies like Enzo or Gallagher in large size leagues to pick up some continuous points. Next on the watch list is Martin Odegaard. And although Arsenal have some very good fixtures coming up, the way they're playing, he could be fixture proof. Arsenal are top of the league and they look like they could grind out victories. If they are to win numerous games, Odegaard is going to be at the heart of that. His last 2 games ended in returns and he could be a very consistent player for the rest of the season. He could be worth a trade for a very decent player, and although he mightn't be as exciting as some players, his 5 and 6 points could win you the game week.
Next up is Pascal Gross. Now Gross seems to be the most nailed player of the Brighton side. Brighton have some very good fixtures from game week 16 right up to game week 28. Particularly that run of fixtures from 25 to 28 of Sheffield, Everton, Fulham and Forest. Players like Adingra and Matoma will miss a couple of fixtures from game weeks 21 to 24 because of international duties. That makes Gross more of a nailed long-term hold.
Last on our watch list is Bert Leno. He's a player we've talked about at length in podcasts. They have some decent fixtures. Couple that with the second most saves in the Premier League, this makes him a great asset. He ticks all the boxes when it comes to fixtures, saves and relative value, so getting Leno over the line in a multiple trade might be a good decision.
On to our waiver suggestions. So in this section we're going to give you some waivers for defenders, midfielders and forwards. Please, if we've ever helped you select a waiver or pick that last minute punt on the free agency, do subscribe to our YouTube and possibly give us a follow on Spotify as well.
Some goalkeeper waivers from last week are still good picks. If Dubravka wasn't picked up, he looks like he could be in goals for the next 3 or 4 months. Bentley might have one more fixture after that clean sheet against Burnley, but after that Jose Sa might be back. If we look at defenders in larger size leagues, Aaron Wan-Bissaka might be a good 1 week punt. Dalot has played every game 90 minutes since game week 3, and United have a very congested run of fixtures. We think Wan-Bissaka is going to get the start against Bournemouth to allow Dalot to play big fixtures like Bayern Munich and Liverpool. Although United haven't been that solid at the back, playing the fixtures and the probability is always a good decision.
Next is Lewis Dunk. So Dunk is back after his suspension, and they play Burnley at home. Now Brighton haven't been a team to keep a clean sheet this year, but Dunk does have that attacking threat with a 1.63 expected goals and a 1.4 expected assists. Dunk is also on some set pieces as well, so there is a possibility of him returning attacking returns against Burnley.
Final defender suggestion in large size leagues is Kurt Zouma. We pick him for similar reasons to Dunk. He has very good aerial threat in that West Ham side where they have James Ward-Prowse whipping in free kicks. They play Fulham away in game week 16, and he missed game week 15 as his house got robbed, so we expect him to come straight back into that West Ham side.
On to our defender suggestions in smaller size leagues. So first up, we're looking at Wolves. So Wolves play Forest this weekend, and players like Semedo, Ait-Nouri and Totti could be great picks. If I was to pick any one of the three, I'd be looking at Ait-Nouri. Ait-Nouri has a 1.24 expected goals and a 0.74 expected assists. He hasn't returned this year yet, but with those statistics, he's sure to return in the coming games. Ait-Nouri is coming back from an injury, but the manager has said in a recent press conference that he's expected to play against Nottingham Forest.
Top of our list is Player of the Month, Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire is the most nailed Manchester United defender, and they have some decent fixtures over the next 8 to 10 game weeks. If you are looking for a route into that United defence, Harry Maguire is the most solid. He got an assist against Chelsea and poses some decent aerial threat. United have kept some clean sheets recently, and he is on a lot of waivers.
Our steady Eddie of the week is Joe Linton. With injuries of Murphy, Anderson and Barnes and Tonali suspended, Joe Linton is more nailed in that central midfielder position. Newcastle have Fulham, Luton and Forest from game 17 to 19, and if you are looking for that rock to settle your team, Joe Linton is your man.
Another good pickup in larger size leagues this week is Adingra. They play Burnley at home in game week 16. Now be wary of Adingra in terms of trades, as he also goes to the AFCON in game week 21 to 24.
Next up is McSauce. So McSauce returned twice against Chelsea last weekend, and they play Bournemouth this week. Now there will be some rotation in United's team because of Champions League and because of the short fixture swing between Premier League games, but if he does play, there's a high possibility he'll return against Bournemouth. So if you are looking for a punt this weekend, McSauce could be a great option.
Our official punt of the week is Lewis Potter of Brentford. With a range of injuries in Brentford's team and then playing Sheffield United away, Potter looks like a good option this week. He played 45 minutes against Brighton last week and got an assist in game week 14, only playing 12 minutes against Luton. If he gets 60 to 70 minutes, he could be a nice pickup in a larger size league. Garnacho now looks like one of United's most attacking and nailed players. He plays Bournemouth in game week 16, but there is a chance that he gets rotated in preparation for them fixtures that Jaxie talked about. If you are picking up Garnacho, I think you have to invest time in him. If he doesn't start against Bournemouth and doesn't play well against Liverpool, there is a chance that you want to put him back in the waiver. If you pick him up in game week 16, I think he could be a long-term hold and increase in trade value over the next couple of game weeks.
Giovanni Lo Celso. With Matters out injured, he's really stepped up to the plate with 2 goals in the last 2 games. No matter what the fixture will be, Spurs are always going to play attacking football, and we've seen that against Chelsea and against City this year. So if you are looking to get into that Spurs attacking side, Lo Celso can be a great option, especially with the Asian Cup coming up and Son likely to miss games 21 to 24. Lo Celso can be a nailed option in that long, good run of Spurs fixtures.
Last on our waiver suggestions for game week 16 is a single forward. Anthony Martial will probably get the start against Bournemouth for United in game week 16. This is to allow the likes of Højlund and Rashford some rest for the Bayern Munich and Liverpool game. Anthony Martial has returned recently, and I think Ten Hag will put some faith in him versus Bournemouth. Now he's likely to only get 60 to 70 minutes and isn't probably a long-term hold, so if you are picking up Anthony Martial, it might be just for that Bournemouth fixture.
Do follow us on all social media, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok, and follow our weekly podcast FPL Draft Duo for more in-depth analysis on waiver suggestions, trade dilemmas and tips and tricks to help you succeed in the FPL Draft.